happens.
Yes.
Your blood congeals, clogging your veins.
I said yes!
On the planet, shoved right inside a...
Like your wife.
Who does not know the figure Brad Pitt? His expertise in role-playing plus his handsome face made him many fans. Brad Pitt had started his career since 1987 by bringing in extra roles. Throughout his illustrious career, he has worked alongside many of the modern day's greatest filmmakers, starred in massive blockbuster hits, and won 2 Academy Awards, one for acting and one for his efforts as an executive producer. From harrowing crime dramas to unforgettable biopics, historical epics, and timeless classics, Pitt's filmography is relentlessly impressive, with these credits among the actor's very best.
You've just been identified by a competing agent.
Maybe there was a little head trauma?
Maybe.
I
don't see the White Death letting any of us off this train.
Number 1. Bullet Train 2022. Bullet Train is a 2022 American action comedy film directed by David Leitch and starring Brad Pitt as an assassin who must battle fellow killers while riding a bullet train. It is based on the 2010 novel Maria Beadle, titled Bullet Train in the UK and US editions, written by Kotaro Isaka and translated by Sam Melissa, the second novel in Isaka's Hitman trilogy, of which the first novel was previously adapted as the 2015 Japanese film Grasshopper.
Konnichiwa.
The casting of several non-Asian actors, including Brad Pitt and Joey King, prompted accusations of whitewashing characters who were Japanese in Kotaro Isaka's novel. David Inoue, executive director of the Japanese American Citizens League, criticized the casting, stating that while American actors would have been appropriate if the setting were changed to the United States, the filmmakers used the novel's Japanese setting while keeping Japanese characters in the film's background.
Eat a bag of dicks, lady. I'm sorry. I'm working on.
Number 2. Babylon 2022.
Fuck yeah!
The fourth feature film from Oscar-winning director Damien Chazelle, Babylon proved to be a polarizing take on early Hollywood laced with decadence and debauchery. The 3-hour-long period drama/black comedy follows multiple characters in the film industry through the highs of the 1920s and the fates they face when the advent of the talkies threatens their careers. It proved to be divisive for audiences and critics alike, but the film has won growing support for its ambition and dare as well as its spectacular visual style and the acting performances. Its more confronting moments and its split audience response made it a somewhat controversial movie upon release, but there are plenty who wouldn't be surprised if Babylon were to be retrospectively viewed as one of the best movies of 2022 and even the decade.
Fight a fucking snake! Listen up, all you big dick!
Number 3. Aster 2019.
It's crazy out there.
There has certainly been no lack of underrated sci-fi cult classics in recent years, with Aster ranking highly in that regard as a dramatic voyage through space. Pitt stars as Roy McBride, an astronaut who embarks on a dangerous mission to investigate the possibility of his father's re-emergence after he went missing near Neptune 30 years prior. Director James Gray strikes a somber tone with the film, rich with atmosphere thanks to a powerfully grounding performance from Pitt and a breathtaking visual display. Despite being universally praised by critics, it was met with a more mixed response from audiences and ultimately flopped at the box office.
Good. Ready to do my job to the best of my abilities.
Number 4. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood 2019.
Don't you forget it. You're Rick fucking Dalton.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood has come to be viewed by some to be Quentin Tarantino's best movie. Set in the late 60s, it follows a struggling actor's turbulent career and his loyal stuntman who accompanies him, while also featuring Sharon Tate's Margot Robbie, vibrant stardom while an ominous threat dwells on the periphery. It was a loving ode to old Hollywood while serving as a pleasant alternate fantasy on the Manson family murders, all while still boasting Tarantino's trademark exuberance and style. It won 2 Academy Awards from 10 nominations, with Pitt's Best Supporting Actor win his first ever Oscar for a performance. Number 5. Allied 2016.
After the war, you have a place.
When the war is over, it won't matter where I am. They're watching us. Now kiss me.
The film, released in 2016, is a film that combines the thriller and romantic comedy into a solid story. The film is directed by Robert Zemeckis, who was a successful director of the box office titles. This film has a slight resemblance to Mr. and Mrs. Smith. In the movie Allied, Brad Pitt played the role of Max Vatan, who was a spy agent.
Come with me to London. Be my wife. I need traffic.
In Morocco, he met and fell in love with another spy played by Marion Cotillard. They got married and tried to hide their identity.
Is this a game?
Number 6. The Big Short 2015.
4 outsiders risked it all.
No one is paying attention.
It's unbelievable.
Have my wife's brother arrested.
Depicting America's housing market collapse and the men who foresaw it and profiteered off the economic disaster, The Big Short balanced the nation's raw financial woes with black comedy to be a major hit of 2015. With a star-studded cast including Steve Carell, Christian Bale, Ryan Gosling, as well as Brad Pitt, it tracks the individual investors' moves as they position themselves to make a fortune by betting against the U.S. mortgage market. While it presented as being a fun tale of an unlikely gamble paying off, it was smart to acknowledge the real-life crisis with poignance as well. The film served as a major reinvention for writer-director Adam McKay, and it remains the best example of the stylish, satirical niche he has adopted in recent years.
American people are getting screwed by the big banks.
The housing market is rock solid.
Number 7. Fury 2014.
Do your job! Bar! Or what?
In 2014, Brad Pitt backstarred in the World War II movie was entitled Fury.
I started this war killing Germans in Africa. Now I'm killing Germans in Germany. The killing's not done.
In this film, Brad Pitt ruined with the Shia LaBeouf, Logan Lerman, Michael Penn, John Bernthal, and Jason Isaacs. The film is urgent action and shows how the Allied tank treat business is in against the Nazi forces.
Com check.
Photo check.
Security check.
Bond check.
Roll check.
I won't ask you to do anything I haven't done myself.
When trying to attack, the 4 tanks belonging to the Allies are destroyed and only one left. It was then tested to maintain the position or escape running away. When watching this movie, you can see how something seems impossible to change if it is destined.
Afraid you were dead.
Hit that son of a bitch! Do what you're here for!
Number 8. The Tree of Life 2012.
The way of nature and the way of grace.
From the ever-enigmatic Terrence Malick, The Tree of Life mixes complex philosophical ponderings with palpable, atmospheric moodiness and a cast of A-listers at their very best. The family drama focuses on a young boy's upbringing, showcasing the conflicting lessons he learns from his parents and the impact his youth has on his later life. A thought-provoking narrative which borders on being whimsical, there is little in the way of linear plot for audiences to latch onto, but fans of Malick adored the contemplative exercise. It was also terrific to see Pitt as the domineering and contradicted Mr. O'Brien as he struggled to raise his sons to be prepared for the cruelty of the world.
Father, Mother, unless you love.
Number 9. Moneyball 2011.
But what can he do?
You want me to speak?
We're not playing you yet.
He gets on base.
There are rich teams, and there are poor teams. Then there's 50 feet of crap.
In addition to being nominated for 6 Academy Awards, Moneyball also holds the surprising honor of being the highest-rated movie on Rotten Tomatoes to feature Brad Pitt in the starring role. The biographical sports drama follows the GM of the Oakland Athletics as the team employs a revolutionary way of analyzing player quality in order to remain competitive. The must-see sports film features Pitt at his personable best, depicting Billy Beane as he commits to an unprecedented method out of desperation and faces the backlash of the MLB in the process. It's triumphant, uplifting, and inspirational as it contextualizes what Beane achieved, offering an enjoyable dose of underdog charm along the way.
Who are you?
I'm Peter Brand.
First job in baseball?
It's my first job.
This team?
They can't throw.
Number 10. Inglorious Bastard, 2009.
Killing Nazis. Sound good?
Yes, sir!
9999!
Oh, yes.
Is that the plan?
That's about it.
It presented as a perfect fit when Brad Pitt and Quentin Tarantino finally paired to make Inglorious Bastard, and the fantastical World War II thriller did not disappoint. A winding narrative, it tracked American commandos terrorizing Nazi forces, a vengeful Jewish woman operating a movie theater in Paris, and the despicable Hans Landa, Christoph Waltz, aka the Jew Hunter. From Pitt's Lieutenant Aldo Raine to Melanie Lawrence Shoshana Dreyfus, and the aforementioned Hans Landa, the movie boasted an incredible array of enticing characters with Pitt's protagonist, armed with an intense drawl and a taste for violence, becoming one of the director's most renowned characters.
Operation.
Number 11. Burn After Reading, 2008. It has been argued many times before that Pitt is an exceptional character actor who is constantly thrust into starring roles on account of his looks, but Burn After Reading showcased just how good he can be as a ridiculous side character. Amid a narrative of interwoven characters, Pitt and Frances McDormand starred as 2 gym employees who discover an ex-CIA agent's memoirs and set off a political conspiracy farce when they try to sell them back to him. George Clooney, John Malkovich, Tilda Swinton, and J.K. Simmons rounded out the sensational cast which excelled at delivering the Coen brothers' sense of off-kilter comedy. While it wasn't the filmmaker's masterpiece, it still excelled as a thoroughly entertaining political satire with plenty of laughs.
You should put up a note in the ladies' locker room.
Put up a note? Hello? Did anybody lose their secret CIA?
Number 12. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, 2008. Throughout his career, Brad Pitt has been a frequent collaborator with David Fincher, with The Curious Case of Benjamin Button marking just one of 3 films the duo have worked on together as actor/director. The romantic drama follows the titular Benjamin Button, Pitt, a man who ages backwards, thus complicating many elements of his life, particularly his romantic interest in Daisy Fuller, Cate Blanchett. Propelled by Fincher's conviction and ambition as well as great performances from its 2 stars, the film found an engaging heart amid its unconventional premise. The romantic, dramatic, and emotional heft of the film was given plenty of room to unfold over a runtime of almost 3 hours. Number 13. The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, 2007.
Seems to me you have something to confess. Do you want to be like me? Or you want to be me?
Jesse James was 34 years old.
As a prolific actor always willing to take on challenging projects, Brad Pitt has had many underrated flops in addition to his blockbuster hits, but few of his films are as underappreciated as The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. The biographical Western follows famed outlaw Jesse James, Pitt, and a new inclusion to his gang in Robert Ford, Casey Affleck. The film excels as a meditative look at one of the most violent and prominent figures in American history. With strong performances, outstanding cinematography from Roger Deakins, and a wonderfully engrossing tone, it has amassed a large cult following and even more critical respect after flopping upon release. Number 14. Babel, 2006. Under the masterful direction of Alejandro González Iñárritu, Babel struck a chord with audiences as a winding, interwoven tale of misfortune and circumstance. It follows the two young sons of a goat herder whose experimentation with a rifle goes horribly wrong, the vacationing American couple befallen by tragedy because of the boy's mistake, their own troubles back home concerning their children and nanny, and a deaf Japanese girl struggling to live with her disability. The film had a power in its vast scope and made terrific use of its quieter moments to have an overwhelming thematic heft. While its narrative is a lot to digest, the characters and performances helped make the film more appealing, and it can rightfully be viewed as one of the most underrated Brad Pitt films. Number 15. Mr. and Mrs. Smith 2005. As a high-octane action rom-com with two of the biggest stars in modern cinema, Mr. and Mrs. Smith became a huge box office success. The film follows Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie as the Smiths, a happily married upper-middle-class couple who are actually assassins employed by rival agencies. Hijinks ensue when the call comes for each of them to kill the other, allowing the personalities of the two stars to completely occupy the screen and elevate the film to a level of fun-filled blockbuster spectacle. It received mostly mixed reviews, but it did become the 7th highest grossing movie of 2005 and introduced the world to Brangelina.
Sweetheart.
How are you gonna handle it?
I'm gonna borrow this.
Yeah.
Number 16. Troy 2004.
I will look down on your corpse and smile.
Want to see Brad Pitt in a colossal Roman movie? You can watch a movie Troy released in 2014. The film is inspired by Homer's ancient poem entitled Iliad. The poem tells of a battle between the kingdom of Troy and the Spartans. In this film, Brad Pitt plays an Achilles. Achilles are the leading armies of the Galapagos to go on a mission of historic conquest of the city of Troy with 1,000 ships and 50,000 troops. For totaling the role of Achilles, Brad Pitt even practiced a 6-month swordplay.
I will ever submit to a foreign ruler. Shall die. We will be together.
Number 17. Ocean's 11 2001.
The heist is impossible.
Vegas, huh?
Vegas?
Vegas.
Fantastic. Exactly.
Casino security cannot be beaten. You're out of your mind.
The combination of heist, thrills and fast-paced, fun action has worked a treat on multiple occasions throughout cinematic history, but it has seldom been more effective than it was in 2001's Ocean's 11. It follows Danny Ocean, George Clooney, a recently released ex-con who eagerly assembles a crew to carry out an ambitious heist on 3 Las Vegas casinos, all of which are owned by the man his former wife is involved with.
Big, and then you take the house.
Brad Pitt plays Rusty Ryan, Ocean's right-hand man and closest friend, but the film is stacked with a ridiculous cast, all of which bringing a distinct demeanor and flamboyancy to the movie. It's remained relevant for over 20 years thanks to its slick style and its infectious entertainment value.
Slightly more complicated than that.
As nuts as you are. What do you got in mind?
Number 18. Snatch 2000.
Whoops.
A cult classic comedy crime film, Snatch showcases Guy Ritchie at his absolute best. Set amid London's criminal underbelly, it focuses on the entwined stories of crooked fight promoters, gangland enforcers, and armed robbers in pursuit of a stolen 86-carat diamond. With a gritty presentation and wonderfully sharp Cockney wit, Snatch excels as a raucous hit of moving parts infused with black comedy and crime intrigue. Amid its litany of engrossing and memorable characters, Pitt was particularly striking as the gypsy bare-knuckle boxing champion who proves to be difficult to manage through a number of rigged bouts. Number 19. Fight Club 1999. Still serving as the actor's best film after more than 20 years, Fight Club remains as relevant as it ever has been with his grungy mood of societal outrage. Another collaboration between Pitt and Fincher, it follows an insomniac, played by Edward Norton, as he encounters the captivating Tyler Durden, Pitt, and together they develop an underground fight club which evolves to be so much more. Fascinatingly, the film was not universally well received upon its initial release, with it having a polarizing effect on critics and audiences alike. However, it has gradually become one of the most celebrated films of the 90s for its often misinterpreted thematic punch, and enjoys a great reputation among fans. Number 20. Sleepers 1996.
I read a little bit of it every night. I read words like revenge.
Just because of a joke, 4 boys had to face punishment in a brutal prison. Prison was a nightmare for the 4 of them. There they get violence and mistreatment. The painful memories have been carried on until they have grown into men. 13 years later, 4 friends who now walk the same profession meet again. A vendetta against the mistreatment in prison remains a constant visitor. The 4 ended up plotting their revenge on those who had wronged them in the prison.
Question you worked before today?
No, but there's a first time for everything.
Number 21. 7 1995.
So how long have you lived here?
Too long. Sloth, wrath, pride, lust, and envy. 7. You can expect 5 more.
As one of the greatest crime dramas ever put to screen, there are understandably many that would rate, say 7N as one of the best Brad Pitt movies. It follows a veteran detective on the cusp of retirement and his assertive young aide as they investigate a serial killer who is motivated by the 7 deadly sins.
Victims. This guy's methodical, exacting. 2 murders away from completion.
Let's finish it.
Brad Pitt.
In addition to its terrifying mystery, it also boasted incredible atmospheric tension as the film exuded an aura of grimy, infested filth buoyed by shocking plot twists and some gruesome effects. It served as the first collaboration between David Fincher and Pitt and remains one of the definitive films of the 1990s.
Read and no witnesses of any kind.
No one touches anything.
Number 22. 12 Monkeys 1995. A high-concept sci-fi thriller, 12 Monkeys has a tendency to make an immediate and lasting impact on its audiences. From the desolate future of 2035 where humanity has been forced underground to survive a viral outbreak, a convict is sent back in time to investigate the origin of the apocalyptic disease. Like many great time travel movies, the film's plot is a bit muddied and requires some deciphering, but Terry Gilliam's direction ensures the tone stays captivatingly bleak, and the plot twists land with their desired, devastating effect. With Bruce Willis and Madeline Stowe in the major roles, Brad Pitt co-starred as an institutionalized activist identified as a person of interest concerning the outbreak. Number 23. Interview with the Vampire 1994. An entrancing mixture of period piece drama, horror thrills, and dark fantasy allure, Interview with the Vampire was effectively the film which transformed Pitt into an all-conquering movie star. It traverses across the life of a centuries-old family as he shares his experiences with a biographer in the modern day. From his turning at the hands of the wickedly evil Lestat de Lioncourt, Tom Cruise, to his violent ventures in Europe with a young vampire who he treats as a daughter, the movie got by with its gothic appeal and genre-meshing intrigue. The highly acclaimed vampire film has become something of a 90s classic within Pitt's filmography and was reimagined as a television series in 2022. Number 24. Legends of the Fall 1994. Legends of the Fall tell of how strong the bonds of brotherhood, sacrifice, and love are. Colonel Ludlow, Anthony Hopkins, lives in Montana with 3 of his sons. The 3 sons of Ludlow grew up strong and had different characteristics. Alfred's eldest, Ida Quinn, always ACTS with the brains and soul of a leader. Tristan's number 2 son, Brad Pitt, has the bravest and best fighter qualities, and Samuel's youngest, Henry Thomas, is the brightest and always protected by his 2 older brothers.
Did I damn everybody around me as well as myself?
Number 25. Thelma and Louise 1991.
Who's the cowboy?
Oh, this is JD. He's
Shit! Darling! You alright? Yeah. You okay? Did I cause that?
As the saying goes, you only get one chance to make a good first impression, and Pitt did exactly that with his first major role in Thelma and Louise.
You, sir. Nobody lose their head.
As striking as Pitt was, the film saw him play second, or technically third, fiddle to stars Susan Sarandon and Geena Davis, who played the titular duo, who find themselves on the run after they shoot a man who attempted to assault one of them. As a bold new wave of feminist adventure and defiance, the film was ahead of its time for its 1991 release and made an impact because of it. It has come to be received as a quintessential American classic with a raw effervescence and a cast of stars who turn in enthralling performances.
Oh, just some guy. Guy who's parole officer.